the craze in 10 or less. This is the show where I give it to you in 10 minutes or under. And if I don't, that's because it's only 10 minutes. Anyway, make mistakes, but don't regret them. That's the topic of the day. I'm Sam the Crazy Man Vera. Stop acting up. Let's get it. All right. So, why this topic? I'll tell you why. Because I needed a topic. No. Because I've been reading a lot. And I've been reflecting a lot. I guess that comes with time, right? As Father Time catches up to us, we tend to think a lot. We tend to reflect and look back at our journey and wonder the what ifs. Could I have done this if I had done this? What if I did that? Should I have done this? What did I learn from that? All these questions come into our heads, right? And there was a quote that says, make mistakes, but don't regret them. But it didn't end there. It says, the longer you live, the more mistakes you will make. And eventually, if you're not careful, they will catch up to you. They are the hardest things to carry when you get older. You don't get in life what you want. You get in life what you are. Wow. So what does that mean? You get in life what you are. Let's dig a little. And, a mistake to some might be a calculated risk to others, right? All depends on perspective and what was at risk and what did you lose, what did you gain from it. So I think when you're being defined by your actions, right? Because mistakes are a byproduct of your actions, of your decision making. At the time that you made it, how many of us have been in a situation where we said, I feel 100% confident that this is the right thing to do. But then you don't get the result you're looking for, right? Because there's a lot of compounding issues that we don't take into consideration or we weren't prepared for. Because maybe we didn't have enough experience or maybe we didn't go outside the box and reach out. Maybe we didn't do surveillance, right? When I mean surveillance, is like maybe it's a venue, right? Say it's a convention. Like for instance, I'll give you a perfect example. The Puerto Rico Comic Con, right? I have some people in Puerto Rico that kept saying, hey, why don't you come out here? You'll do well, you'll do well, you'll do well. And I bought into it, right? And I did some research. I looked at some videos on YouTube. It's a big event, right? I seen the crowd, 55, 60,000 people. I said, okay, the venue looks pretty big. I said, okay, I should be able, right, to do well. Never really digging into who the fan base is and what is it that they're looking for, right? And I was so far into the weeds, the machine was moving, that it was too late to turn back. Because if I decided to turn back once the process had begun, I would lose my money. There was this clause I didn't read until after I signed the contract and paid, that if you cancel, they keep the money. So I would lose the money. Then you have to file for permits. All these things that started compounding, and I started getting a little worried. Then I was on a podcast and they said, hey, the Puerto Rico Comic Con is a big manga anime crowd. And I was like, oh, damn. I'm not an anime artist or a manga artist, right? So now the worry starts kicking in, right? So the confidence that I had building up going into it started fading. And I'm like, damn, did I just make a mistake? But I did it. I said, you know what? It's too late in the game. I got everything. I got all the balls rolling. I already ordered the books. And even with all the things that happened, I still went with the problems with the printer, and the problems with the shipping, and the problem with the hotel losing my package, and the problems with, I still went. But here's what happened. If I didn't go, I wouldn't have learned. If I didn't go, I wouldn't have learned about myself. Not necessarily about the venue, right? So it's not my venue, right? I did well, sold 100 books, right? But it's not my venue. It's not my crowd. It's not my audience, right? Now, I am not what they're looking for the majority. There was a handful of people. When you think 60,000 people, 100 books, that's a fraction of a percent. Um, they're looking for something that I don't give right now, or even plan on giving, right? Because I'm not changing up just to be able to fit to one convention. But the lessons I learned, right? I learned that you're not always going to hit it out the park. You're not always going to have a grand slam. But you'll get on base. You'll connect. I got on base. I connected, right? They pitched. I swung. I connected, right? So, did I make it all the way to home? No. But what I learned is no risk, no reward. What I learned is, all right, Sam, there's some things you need to make sure you secure before you do something like that ever again, right? So, and what I learned is that even though the mass majority was not my audience, there was a population of people that really dug what I did. But too much risk, right? Too much financial risk. So I can't put myself in that position. But does that define me? Does that define me? No. I think what defines me is my ability, my courage. And this is my message to you: the courage that you have, the conviction you have to, you know what? At least try. At least find out for yourself. You know, and even with all the smartest people, I mean, you got to think about it. How long is it taking for us to master space travel? How many failures? How many exploded rockets or failed launches? And you talk about the brain power and the financial, the wealth behind investing in technology and the resources, and we still struggle, right? But it hasn't stopped, the mission to secure, space habitation, right? Space travel. If you don't take risk, if you don't go into the dark, if you don't go in, just head first, you're never going to know what you're made of. And you're never going to benefit from all the lessons that life has in store for you. Right? There's a quote. It says, "Isn't it nice to think that tomorrow is a new day with no mistakes in it yet?" Lucy Maud Montgomery. Right? Isn't it nice to think that tomorrow is a new day with no mistakes in it yet? Right? So tomorrow's a new day. Don't relish on the failure, because they're gonna celebrate your loss, your mistakes. They're gonna say, "Oh, that guy, that girl, they just keep doing it, they keep losing." They want to celebrate that because it's a natural thing for humans to want the hero, to want others to fail, because those people represent what they're not willing to do. If that makes sense. So when you have that crowd that's pointing fingers and mimicking and whatever, it's because you represent what they're not willing to do. You're willing to take charge of your life. You're willing to go into the dark. You're willing to face the odds. And they want to play it safe, right? That's why those innovators are few. Those heroes are few. But the spectators are many. There's only 9 players on the baseball team on the field. How many people in that audience? So they're living through you. And you are living for you. That makes sense, right? Here's another quote, right? It says, "If people refuse to look at you in a new light, and they can only see you for what you were, only see you for the mistakes you've made, if they don't realize that you are not your mistakes, then they have to go." Steve Maraboli, Life, the Truth, and Being Free, is the author of that book. Steve Maraboli. Why do you want those people who are going to constantly remind you of your mistakes around you? Why do you want them around you? You need to surround yourself with risk takers. You got to surround yourself with people who are courageous to defy the odds, with the people who are going to swim upstream while everybody's going downstream. Be okay, even if it's by yourself. Be okay to be alone. Why fit in just to fit in? Do you really need a community where that's going to remind you of all your pitfalls? Or how about just a handful of people that truly believe in you and are not judgmental and just encouraging? And they got your back. Now, you want people who are going to help have a conversation, a healthy conversation about things that you want to do in life from different perspectives if they have life experience to provide to that conversation. But if it's coming from a place of fear and doubt, why would you want that there? You know what I'm saying? Here's another one, right? It says, good judgment comes from experience, and experience comes from bad judgment. Rita Mae Brown. Good judgment comes from experience, and experience comes from bad judgment. Look, who wants to keep making mistakes? Nobody intentionally goes out and says, I'm going to make this mistake. It happens. Somewhere along the line, we missed a step. Or somewhere along the line, something comes from left that you just could not anticipate. There's things within our control and things beyond our control. You just have to weigh which portion do you own that was within your control, like research, R&D, all that stuff, and which was beyond your control. Weather, COVID, things like that, right? Things that you can't control. And then sit down and reflect and say, okay, what's my takeaway here? What do I learn? What can I do differently? So in indie comics, there are thousands of mistakes. And you can go on any podcast or whatever, and you can hear people's journey if they're being transparent and honest. And you're going to hear it. There's a lot of mistakes. But there's a lot of lessons that are broadcasted, that are in archives, that are in videos where you don't have to make that same mistake that you can learn from. But then there's that perspective, your position at the current time that you're about to make a decision. And sometimes it's not relevant. And you got to be okay with that too, right? So the moral of the story is, fear not the unknown. Fear your inability to go into the darkness. If you're afraid of the dark, you're afraid of life. And you gain nothing from it. So go in head first. And I'm going to put that on a shirt. That just came off the top of my head. Anyway, go in there, man. Don't be afraid. It's okay to be afraid. But don't be afraid. If that makes sense. I'll give you a perfect example. When I was a kid, I didn't like to fight. I hated it. I was always afraid. But if I got bullied, I did. But during that whole time, I was afraid. Right? But I would not let the bully me. But I was afraid to face the bully. But I faced the bully anyway. So the fear is a natural thing. The fear is what's going to either drive you or it's going to cripple you. It all depends on the decision you make at the time that you're confronted with that fear. But it's okay. But it's not okay to not chase your dream. It's not okay to not believe in yourself. It's not okay to give up on yourself because of your circle of influence. Is it influence? Is your circle influencing you in the right way? Is the circle there to help support you through your journey? That's the question you have to determine for yourself. But don't let the voices determine what you're going to do. Let your own research, let your own conviction, your own passion determine what you're going to do. And then learn from it. And try not to repeat it. Sometimes it happens, sometimes, but don't sit on it all day and don't beat yourself up over it. Just learn from it. That's just it. And I wanted to share that with you. What are your thoughts? What do you think about this topic? Leave a comment below. In the summary, if you like this episode, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that like, and share. But I do want to remind you guys, hey, A Kid in a Comic, the newspaper, it's out. It's hitting stores. It's available. Did you subscribe? Duty is a comic strip. I'm doing Duty as a comic strip and as a comic book. What? Double duty? Yes, double duty. Subscribe, get it delivered to your house in the mail, or go to your local comic shop and request it. Tell them to hit up akidinacomic.com, akidinacomic.com, and get yourself a copy. Don't forget, visit dutiesworld.com, get yourself a copy of my graphic novel. And with that said, chase your dreams, man. Chase your dreams. You only get one chance at life. Only one chance at life. With that said, I'm Sam the Crazy Man Vera. This is the Crazy Intent or Less. You guys have a blessed day. Peace.